Hi guys, my name is Chelsea and I did my final project on homicide. Basically, homicide is when one individual causes death of another person. And in some cases, it can be criminal or non-criminal. Most of the time, it is criminal, which is either going to be murder or manslaughter. If it isn't criminal, then it can be excusable or justified. The most common types of homicide that we see is going to be first and second degree murder. Um, the two, the thing that separates the two of those is if it's premeditated. So if there's a long plan that they have, if they plan on killing somebody, then it's going to be first degree murder. Most of the time, anybody that's going to murder somebody, they're going to have a plan for it. If there's not a plan, but it's still malicious, then it's going to be second degree murder. And then we also have third degree murder, which is it's not malicious or premeditated. So example of this would be if you're in a drunk driving incident and you hit another person and they die, that's going to be considered third degree murder. Below that is manslaughter, both voluntary and involuntary. I actually knew somebody that went to prison for manslaughter. He basically bought drugs from somebody, gave drugs to somebody else. That person overdosed and died. So he went to jail for manslaughter for technically killing that person. The person that he gave drugs to, so he basically gave them to another friend and that friend gave them to somebody else. But since he was the one that bought them, even though he never met the friend that overdosed, he was the one held responsible and went to prison for 3 years. So those are kind of the difference between the two of them. When it comes to evidence and you're at a crime scene, there's a couple things you want to pay attention to. For starters, you're going to want to have a crime scene investigation kit. You want to have baggies, envelopes, anything to put the evidence in to make sure it's not tampered with and it's sealed. When you get to the crime scene, you want to take photos and videos from all different angles. You never know what you could miss from different angles, up close, to the side. And then you want to look for documentations that could lead to your suspect. And then finally, you want to look anything that can lead to DNA. DNA has come such a long way since like cases back in the day before we had DNA testing. It was a lot harder to find criminals in murder cases. Now that we have the DNA technology, you want to look for any hair, blood, fingerprints, semen, saliva, anything that we can send into the lab for DNA testing. This is sort of an evidence log that I put together off of an example murder case. I decided to do a gun. So you want to look for anything that would have DNA on it, like a cigar, a cigarette. They have a wallet that could identify them. And then the weapon, of course. So whether it's a gun, a knife, however they kill the person, you want to look for that. You want to make sure, again, it's all sealed or it's in an envelope, depending on what it is. And then make sure you sign your name, the date and time, incident number. Yeah, this would kind of be an example of what you would see or what you would write down when you go into a crime scene and get evidence. When it comes to the witness interview, I think it's most important to stay calm and be gentle with them because depending on what they saw, especially if it's in a murder, they're going to be a little out of it. And you want to try to get a description of what they saw the best you can. Make sure you get their name and address, the time and location. And just remember that they're very emotional. So try to keep it short and sweet and get them on. Now, when it comes to the suspect interview, this is when you're going to want to read their Miranda rights. You don't have to do that in the witness interview per se, but you definitely want to with the suspects because if you plan to use anything they said in court as evidence, you need to read them their Miranda rights. Something else important when you're asking questions is to be straightforward as possible. You don't want to get them off on some other tangent, talking about something else, get them distracted. You want to be straightforward and ask them close-ended questions, whether it's yes, no, or like leading questions like how much have you had to drink, things that they have to answer. And then be confident. You don't want to look like you're scared of them or anything like that. You just want to be confident, get your questions answered, and move on. Now, when it comes to the bail schedule, it is going to vary state to state. In Arizona, there's not going to be a bail for first degree murder. Most states, there's not going to be a bail for first degree murder or even second degree murder. If there is, in whatever state, it's going to be up to $1 million. Even being an accessory to murder, not even being the one who committed murder, is $500,000. So you're looking at a pretty high bail if you even get one at all. Manslaughter, if there's no malice, so like, for example, the case with my friend with the overdose of drugs or anything that's not planned or premeditated, maybe the DUI situation, is going to be anywhere from 25,000 to 100,000, again, depending on your judge and the state that you're in. And then punishment, again, is going to vary state to state. I'm in Arizona, so we do have the death penalty. So you'll either get that or you're going to get first degree is going to get life without the possibility of parole. Second degree murder could possibly you could get parole. But definitely with first, you're not going to get parole and you're going to be in there for life. And then you'll see if you'll get the death penalty or not. Again, that's going to be up to a juror and judges. A lot of terms that you'll hear is 25 years to life, which basically just means that you're in prison for life. And then, third degree manslaughter, it's going to be lesser. You have a chance of parole, good time. But it can range anywhere in Arizona from 10 to 16 years. The person that I knew that got manslaughter went for 3 years, but that was in Wisconsin. So again, it's just going to vary depending on the state you're in. And that is everything. Thank you for watching.